Hello everyone, welcome to today's show. My name is Spencer Walsh. Thank you so much for joining us here today. We got a lot of stuff to get to. Very busy today, as usual on today's show. At least 12 states to sue the Trump administration over the question of census citizenship. The Michigan gubernatorial candidate says he's the Bernie of the race, but who is the real progressive? The DCCC injects itself into a third Texas Democratic primary. This time it's actually going up against Emily's list, which is a little bit weird. So, normally they are hand in hand in endorsing the most establishment candidate out there. Are very busy for you today as usual. Alright, we got also got another very good show for you today, so stick with us. Alright, so at least 12 states signaled Tuesday that they would sue to block the Trump administration from adding a question about citizenship to the 2020 census, arguing that the change would cause fewer Americans to be counted and violate the Constitution. The New York State Attorney General Eric D. Schneiderman said he was leading a multi-state lawsuit to stop the move, and officials in Connecticut, Delaware, Illinois, Massachusetts, and New Jersey, as well as New Mexico, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, and Washington, said that they would join the effort. The state of California filed a separate lawsuit Monday night. The census is supposed to count everyone, Attorney General Maura Healey of Massachusetts said. This is a blatant and illegal attempt by the Trump administration to undermine that goal, which will result in an undercount of the population and threaten the federal funding for our states and cities. So pretty much, again, they are seeing this again as kind of an attack on the sanctuary cities, the sanctuary states for illegal immigrants. So pretty much, yeah, they're asking, if you don't get it, the only reason why they are asking about citizenship on the 2020 census is to find out illegal immigrants, how many people in the country, and really deport more people. The Constitution requires every resident of the United States be counted in a decennial census, whether or not they are citizens. So, that means decennial, by the way, means if you didn't know, every 10 years. The results are not just used to redraw political boundaries from school boards to House seats, but to allocate hundreds of billions of dollars in federal grants and subsidies to where they are needed most. Census data provides the baseline for planning decisions made by corporations and governments alike. So, so census data, it's a big deal. It gets all published online. There's about it's a compilation of how many people live in the country, who they are, where they are, what they're doing, stuff like that. Just random bits of data about them. And it goes to corporations and governments. They all make these good decisions on it and to better serve you. But it's also kind of weird. They're making these decisions based off information about you to better target you, and it's a better kind of advertising tool as well. So opponents of the added citizenship question said it was certain to depress response to the census from non-citizen and even legal immigrants. Critics accuse the administration of adding the question to reduce population count in predominantly Democratic areas where more immigrants reside in advance of state and national redistricting in 2021. And again, this kind of reminds me of the old accusation, the old like far right trope that the Democrats are putting in a new society and to vote for them. When I say this, it's like a new population group, and when they say that, they obviously mean illegal immigrants. But the funny thing is, like, that's not like but meanwhile, they're actually Republicans passing voter suppression laws across the country for photo IDs, for things that they know people who don't vote for them are less likely to have, so they just won't vote at all. They won't bother to vote. And the fact that there is so many other voter suppression laws, that can be very, very tough. That can be definitely very, very tough. That we are having to deal with that at this point in time. So the Trump administration defended the citizenship question by saying it was needed to better enforce the Voting Rights Act, which relies on accurate estimates of voting eligible populations. The White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders said in a briefing that the decision was to gather citizenship data through the decennial census was necessary for the Justice Department to protect its voters. I think that this is going to determine the individuals in our country and provide information that allows us to comply with our laws and our own procedures. Asked whether there would be outreach to ensure participation in immigrant-heavy regions like California. Sanders said she was not aware of any of those specifics. Nope, not aware. Sanders also said the citizenship question had been included in every census since 1965, with the exception of 2010 when it was removed, which is not true, except for the fact that various citizenship questions have been asked in many censuses since 1815, especially during periods of high immigration, which this period is not. It was dropped from the 1960 census. There was no census in 1965, obviously, and relegated in 1970 to a longer list of questions that were asked by a small minority that were asked of a small minority of residents. After 2000, the question was asked only on the American Community Survey, a separate voluntary poll of a fraction of the population that is conducted more frequently than the census. So it's kind of like a mini census that's voluntary. Critics noted that the citizenship question was added at the last minute, and the deadline for proposing new questions for the 2020 headcount is April 1st, and that it sidestepped the years of vetting undergone by every question that will be asked, every other question that will be asked. So no one really obviously had any time to process it. No one had any time to let it go through, and it was proposed by the White House. So those people with the census are probably just not just going to like go and say, no, you can't have this. It's going to be shot down. But yeah, that's the other thing. It's just another effort to suppress the vote. The Republicans think we're busing. Us Democrats are kind of busing in immigrants. Like, that's crazy. And it's also projection. The funny thing is, again, it's projection on top of projection on top of projection. They're cutting out parts of the American population. And the funny thing is, they're doing it way more effectively via gerrymandering, via voter suppression, and all those other things that are really quite manipulative, quite tough to get around, and are really quite frustrating, and in some cases been proven to be against the law. That's the other crazy thing about this. So, yeah, all right, we are going to really have to look into that as the years go by, as critics as this census counts. I don't know if does it take a year. I don't know, or do they start doing it before? I don't really remember because I wasn't really paying attention to anything in 2010. I was very young. I was 7 in 2010. Mr. Schneiderman, the New York Attorney General, said that adding the question was a reckless decision to suddenly abandon nearly 70 years of practice. He argued that the move will create an environment of fear and distrust in immigrant communities that will make it impossible both for an accurate census and a fair distribution of federal tax dollars. Oh, Wilbur Ross, the Trump administration, all those people who are starting to propose this stuff, they're just going to be broken up if the immigrants don't get their fair share of tax dollars. Like, no, yeah. That's what we need to do. Like, this is like kind of the whole point. This is the point of what we need to do. We need to fix this. We need to distribute tax dollars evenly, and we need to make sure, just, if you really care about law and order, Republicans, how about we stop this crazy gerrymandering you guys are doing, and we get this whole thing under control? I mean, we are living right now in a country of no law and order and no free and fair elections if we don't get this done, because, again, it decides gerrymandering. It decides, again, as Schneiderman says, a federal distribution of tax dollars, a fair federal distribution of tax dollars. So everyone needs that. Like, literally everyone needs that. That's very important. Like, we all put a lot of money in the government. We deserve to get some out. Yeah. So in a 7-page announcement released Monday, Wilbur Ross, the Secretary of Commerce, foresaw those concerns and sought to allay them. That's very nice of him. Just allay my concerns, would you, Wilbur? Decades of experience with citizenship questions on earlier censuses and other surveys, he stated, that indicated it on the 2020 form would not deter people from volunteering to be counted, and not that other democracies, from Australia to the United Kingdom, routinely asked about their citizenship in their head counts without any difficulty. Yeah, but like, they have people who are a little bit more chill about immigrants in office right now. Like, Theresa May is not going to start rounding people up just because they said they're not a citizen on their test. But yeah, there's that, and the fact that there is also an incredible amount of, again, anti-immigrant fear in this country from the administration down, and I can totally understand if you don't want to answer that question. Ross, whose department oversees the Census Bureau, acknowledged that both outside experts and leaders within the bureau had been opposed to the change, but he said that neither the Census Bureau nor the concerned stakeholders could document that the response rate would in any way, in fact, decline materially. And although the citizenship question was not tested for inclusion in the 2020 form, it is used in the American Community Survey, which again is voluntary. Kenneth Pruitt, who's the director of the Census Bureau under President Clinton, dismissed the administration's rationale that the question is needed to enforce the Voting Rights Act. It's certainly unnecessary, Pruitt said, who's now a professor of public affairs at Columbia. The Voting Rights Act is being administered very well with the data from the American Community Survey. The Justice Department has ruled on that a number of times over the last 15 years. The decision to add a question potentially throws a new degree of uncertainty into census preparations that are already well behind schedule and starved for money. The only full dress rehearsal of the 2027s unfolding this month in Providence County, Rhode Island, has scaled back in some areas. Tens of thousands of forms mailed to local residents this month did not contain the citizenship question, so now they're going to be forced to add that in now by the Trump administration. Big government getting in the way of the census. Oh well. But anyway, yeah, that's the whole point. They're going to try and put that citizenship question in. People aren't liking it, and experts dismissed Ross's statement that the citizenship question did not need further testing, arguing that the census and the American Community Survey differ in almost every aspect, from size to public awareness to whether a response is required. When you do this once every year, 10 years, 340 million people, you got to get it right. William H. Frey, a demographer at the Michigan University of Michigan, says on Tuesday, critics of Ross's decision made a letter available sent to Mr. Ross from 6 former directors of the Census Bureau. 6 doesn't happen very often. They all served under Republican and Democratic administrations. The letter stated that they were deeply concerned that adding the citizenship question would considerably increase the risks to the 2020 enumeration. There would be a great deal of evidence that even small changes in the survey, question order, wording, and instructions, quality, and truthfulness consequences and can have significant and often unexpected consequences for the rate, quality, and truthfulness of the response, former directors, who included Pruitt, said. The effect of adding a citizenship question to the 2020 census on data quality and census accuracy, therefore, is completely unknown. Well, the Trump administration would say in response, there's only one way to find out. I guess there is, but still, the majority of the census elite, I guess you could call them, will be against it for the time. This is the Spencer Walsh Radio Network. Your show will return in just 4 minutes.
Pendo on the beat.